one thing that stood out when I was doing my prep for you
Mhm.
was salsa dancing because it's
Yeah.
out of all the ethnicities that tend to exist, which are there's hundreds of them.
Yeah.
I'm most intrigued by. And I'm not even sure what the politically correct term is. There's Latinx and there's Hispanic. There, I don't know which one it is, but
Mhm.
salsa dancing and more specifically salsa music has always intrigued me, especially being a musician. I
Mhm.
love music in general, and I don't care about lyrics. I don't care about that touched my soul. The wording was so perfect. I care about music and salsa
Yeah.
music, the percussion. There's so much going on at once, and yet it
There
all
is.
works. But when I discovered that you salsa dance and you've been taking lessons for a while, how did you get into that, and what advice could you give to me, someone who has no rhythm outside of making music? I can't dance to it. What advice would
Yeah.
you give me? And you can talk about your experience, salsa dancing.
Yeah, yeah. So I grew up dancing. I'm
Hmm.
Dominican and Colombian, and Dominican traditional music is called bachata,
Hmm.
which I love. And so we listen to a lot of music at a really young age. I mean, we used to wake up to that with our mom like blaring
Goodness.
bachata. Yeah, and I always wanted to take lessons, but I never did. So my dance was not technical. It was just, like fun dancing, basically
Hmm.
what you do when you grow up dancing as a kid. And always wanted to take lessons, never had the opportunity to until about 2019. I said, you know what, like I need to do this. And you know why it happened? It was because I went to a Latin dance event,
Hmm.
and everybody there was such a good dancer that I felt like a terrible dancer.
Lord.
And I was like, okay, this is never happening to me again. I'm getting into lessons with a professional. And so that's what I did. And it was the best decision because I would compare learning to dance like learning a new language, you know,
Hmm.
because you really are speaking to that person, to the partner that you're dancing with.
Right.
You're speaking to each other with your body, and so you got to learn a new language, and you're going to run into all the bumps in the road that you are going to if you were learning an actual language, right?
Hmm.
Like you're going to mean this and you're going to say that, and then there's going to be confusion.
Right.
So that was overcoming that really helped me in a lot of ways. I think it helped me. And I'll tell you some really specific ways that I think is important and why it's actually worthwhile for people to learn to dance if you don't already know. For one, I think I learned how to be a more feminine woman through
Hmm.
dance because
Hmm.
it taught me how to follow.
Wow.
It,
Don't do
it
that.
act,
You get
yeah,
canceled for that.
yeah. It taught me to trust more
Hmm.
and to learn to follow. And it actually, the interesting part about dance is that if you don't follow well because you don't trust the person, and that could be a
Hmm.
perfect stranger that you've never even met before, you're gonna mess up and you're gonna
Facts.
look bad, right?
Facts.
You're gonna look bad, and that's what you don't want. And so it really taught me, like, I need to trust and I need to follow, and that I'm better off when I do.
Wow.
So, for you as a man, right, you would have to lead on the dance
Facts.
floor. And
Facts.
so, you're right. So you have
Yeah.
to like communicate your leadership to this person who this dance could be the first and only time you've ever met. You have
Right.
to communicate your leadership very directly, very quickly. And even if she doesn't lead, like follow, you still have to continue leading, right?
Wow.
Because giving correction on the dance floor, especially in a Latin dance, is not, it's considered poor etiquette, right?
Wow.
So if she messes up, it's actually considered to be the leader's fault because you weren't
Hey,
leading well
that's how it
enough.
works.
That's
That's
how
how
it
it
works.
works. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think for both genders, gosh, you learn so much about yourself. And also you learn how to be in your body and like really have a strong presence in your body. You become stronger in like physically stronger and
Hmm.
mentally stronger. And honestly, everybody should learn to dance. It's so good for so many
Yeah.
reasons.
It's always been my contention that dance is like the one of the greatest forms of freedom in terms of expression.
Yeah.
Mainly because especially for those who can't dance technically and like their form is not perfect, or their technique might be a bit askew, or
Mhm.
as you mentioned, like someone's leading when they should be following, or someone's following when they should be leading. It's always
Yeah.
intriguing to see dance. One thing I always compare to is like sports. Like sports is probably the closest thing to dance I currently have in my armory. And it's
Yeah.
just that there's some rules that have to apply. Like you can't. I mean, your footwork has to be in tune, and your timing, your dribbling, like you're balancing
Mhm.
all these different motor skills to get to an end goal. And so it's definitely an interesting discipline. And I don't think a lot of people see it as a discipline, but it definitely is, because those who can't do it and they go out there and try to just figure it out on the spot, like which dance are you doing, or the music's too
Yeah.
fast or too slow. It's always intriguing. Um,
Yeah, yeah, definitely worth it, and the other great thing about it is that it makes you get over your self-consciousness.
true,
We have a
true.
lot of self-consciousness that we don't even realize because so much of it is um, like it's just like in the back of your mind. You're so accustomed to operating in a subconscious way
Hmm.
with self consciousness that you don't even realize when you're doing it. And like dance is gonna, or learning to dance is gonna bring all of that to the surface. And honestly, that's why a lot of people quit
Wow.
because they feel so self conscious and embarrassed on the dance floor. But if you can overcome that hump, because it does get better. If you can overcome that, then you can overcome your self consciousness in other areas of life where it's going to show up, like dating and relationships, like building your own business and showing up as the public face of your business. You
Hmm.
know, let's say uh, learning a new job, learning any new skill, either at school or in the workplace.
Hmm.
All of your insecurities and self consciousness is going to show up in those other settings. And if you've had the experience of learning to dance, which is a place that's like very vulnerable in that way, like it's going to force you to face your self consciousness and it's going to bring
Hmm.
it to the surface and then it's going to get better, then you realize that that's how it is with anything and everything new, right? Like
Wow.
it goes like this in that, like, you feel it feels bad, it feels bad, it feels bad. Oh crap, I'm really good at this, and then you're coasting.